Hello, my name is Jamie Willis-Rose. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This next series of videos will be about an app I created that is a time zone converter. This app was built in PowerApps using Microsoft Flow and the Microsoft Common Data Service, or CDS. The objectives for this series are to be able to use Flow's convert time zone action, to use PowerApps to collect the date and time, the source time zone, and the destination time zone, to use the Common Data Service to provide a list of time zones, and to connect Flow and CDS to PowerApps to convert the time zones. So let me show you a finished version of the app and to give you an idea of what we're shooting for. What we're going to do is we'll be able to take the time, we'll be able to select a time zone. For example, let's say Europe Standard Time, and then convert it into, say, let's say UTC. And then when we hit convert, it converts it from Europe Standard Time to UTC. And you can change the time here to be whatever you want it to be. Like so. And you can reset it by that. And it uses CDS time zone definitions, which you'll find I'll talk more about in another video. But these are all the time zone definitions here. It's worth noting that this list is not perfect. It doesn't match exactly what you'll see in Flow, which I'll show you in a minute. But it's enough for this demonstration. So for the first video, I want to talk about Flow and how we're going to actually use Flow to convert time zones. So there's several ways to create a flow, but if you're in PowerApps, you can come over here to Business Logic, click Flows, and then just create from blank. You can also create from template, but for today's lesson, I'm going to create from blank. And again, you can search for triggers here if you want to, but I usually just do create from blank. And then I'm going to do PowerApps. And that's my trigger. I like to give it a name right out of the gate. So I'm just going to do time zone converter. And then the action that we'll be using is a built-in action. It's a date and time function called convert time zone. So the convert time zone action has three required inputs. It requires the base time, which is, as the name implies, it's the time that you need to convert. It requires the source time zone and the destination time zone. And then the format string, you can specify using a drop down here. You can just pick the one that matches what you want, or you can create your own. I'll show you how to do that as well. So what I need to do is I need to take the inputs from PowerApps and put them into this formula here. There's a couple ways you can do this. I like to do it first by renaming my action. I like to just give it a simple name. You'll see why in a sec here. And then I'm going to come here and do ask in PowerApps. If you don't see it, try see more. Click ask in PowerApps, and then you can click that, and it'll say convert base time. See, the name I typed here is always going to be the prefix followed by an underscore. So I always like to shorten this to just one word. If you make this convert underscore base time, it's easier to read later on when you're in PowerApps. You don't want a really long one. If you want to set the source time zone from within Flow, you can do that. But for our purposes, we want to be able to change that from within PowerApps. So I'm going to have to click Enter Custom Value. And then, again, see more. And I'm going to go ahead and do Ask in PowerApps. And it's going to be Convert Source Time. I'm going to repeat those steps for destination. See more. Ask in PowerApps. All right, so now I have the required fields. I do need to pick format string. I'm not really sure why they don't make that required. I'm pretty sure you'll have an error message if you don't do that. Either way, though, it's best practice to specify the format string. You can pick one here that meets your needs, or you can do a custom one. For now, I'm going to go ahead and pick this sortable datetime pattern one here. I may change that later. We'll see. I'm going to save it. You need at least one trigger and one action before you can save a flow. If you don't have both of those, you'll get an error message. Now, we're not done yet because I have the trigger, which is going to be within PowerApps, and then have the actual converter, but I have to get this back to PowerApps. So the easiest way to do that is to type in response and do respond to PowerApps, and then click add an output, and then click text, and then give it a name. Call whatever you want. Maybe we'll just call it time. And this is the output of convert. So this is converted time. Easy enough. Now, we could stop here and we could do a test. And that's always a good idea. But there's one other thing to keep in mind, which is that it's always good to have error handling, because sometimes things go wrong, and so it's not a bad idea to build some error handling into your flows. And there's lots of ways you can do that. You can use if, then statements, conditionals, or you can use the configure run after, which is what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and add another action here. Change this to configure run after to make this one run only when it fails. I'll change this to when convert fails. Time. And then for my expression, I'm just going to use UTC now. It could be whatever you want it to be. It could be the time that gets passed in, the base time. It could be anything. This will at least pass back to PowerApps something. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can also pass back an error message. For example, you could say, actually, you could say something here like unable to convert time zone. Now for this one, configure run after, instead of when successful, you want to do it when it has skipped. So when the failure has skipped, which means this convert has succeeded, this is convert is successful. And then just add a error here, and you can leave this blank, and it'll just pass back a blank value. Oh, or will it? No, apparently you have to actually put something in there. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do null and see if that works. There we go. Have to actually put something in there. See, learn something every day. All right, so now I have a very basic flow. It's going to use PowerApps to trigger it. It's going to pass in 3 variables from PowerApps. So the PowerApps will send this through. The convert time zone action will run, and it'll output If it fails, it'll send back to PowerApps the current UTC time and an error message. If it succeeds, it'll send back the converted time and no error message. So that's the gist of it. So now let's go ahead and test it. So I'll perform the trigger action. It's going to ask you for the 3 inputs here because I'm not using actual PowerApps at this point. For here, I'm going to do the date, and the time. And then for the source time zone, I'll post a link to a list of all the time zones you can get that are available. For now, though, I'm just going to paste in Pacific Standard Time. And let's convert it to GMT. Let's see how that works. On flow. All right, convert is successful. So you see you got the check marks, and then it returns back the time. No error message. So that's a good sign. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. My next video will be building the app in PowerApps. You can find me on Twitter at Willis-Rose and on LinkedIn. I look forward to getting your feedback. You can leave your comments below, or also you can find me on the community forum. When the series is done, I'll post the app on the community forum so you can download it. Thank you.